to YouTube. This one is a squad that was dominant, like the 1990 squad I did earlier. These were made on Cricket 19. I uploaded a lot of teams to the academy over the years, not just for this game, but for previous versions of the game, going back to, let's see now, it's called Don Bradman. I think it's called Don Bradman 17, the one I started with. Anyway, there's different versions, but this is the latest version, which has just had an update. But I've just thought, as I've got back into cricket season, and there's a bit more cricket and North American friends that have requested to me put this up. So, hello to KRI Fun Live. How are you? So I will continue now with Australia 2000s. So here we go. So, like I said, I'm Mousy Dread on the Academy, and I'm also Mousy Dread on the Planet Cricket website. So, feel free. So, here we go. So, like I said, no one man can appear on the other, decade. I'm from Jamaica, so hello, India. How are you? I have got India on here as well, if I may just switch to show you that there's a lot of Indian teams on here as well that I've created over the year. If you see here, I have India going right back to the 1930s. That is another episode, so if you like and subscribe, you will see it at some point if you tune in. So you can see I've done India all the way through, right up until the 2010s. Even Indian players that have been overlooked, like Vijay, Brosley, Krishnan, Bhaskar, and so on and so forth. So if you do want to tune in at some point, you can do so. So I'll go back to where I was. I just did that for KRI Fun. And let me go back to where I was, which was Australia 2000s. So here we go. So here we go. Australia 2000s. The squad was Matthew Hayden. He's on here. Matthew Hayden was a brilliant, powerful opening batsman that dominated opposing bowlers for Australia. He had a legendary partnership with Justin Langer, and he was just superb. Once that core of Australian players for the 90s and the 2000s, early 2000s disappeared, Australia still remained competitive, but this was a golden period, just similar to what was on in the 70s as well, with the Lilly and the Thompson and the Chappells and the Marsh and the Walters team. Ian Harvey was a bits and pieces player. I think Ian Harvey probably became more into T20, because by the 2000s T20 has started, and he is rated quite highly as an overall player. Then you got Ricky Ponting, not everyone's favourite player, but I loved Ricky Ponting. Ricky Ponting was aggressive on the field. He was aggressive with the bat. His nickname was Punter, mainly because he liked to punt a little bit when he was younger. He was a bit controversial. I just liked him. He just summed up everything about Australian cricket. He played hard, he played aggressive, he played to win. So I absolutely loved Ricky Ponting. And he later on became the captain in the legendary 2005 Ashes series, which he lost. And he got a scar under his, I think under his left eye or right anyway. He got a scar when he was bounced. And he still wears that scar to this day. But a fantastic player. My favourite Indian players, if you wanted to know, Kapil Dev was one of my favourite. Jimmy Amarnath, otherwise known as Mahinda Amarnath, was fantastic. When I was a young man growing up, these were the players I remember. I remember the wicketkeeper Syed Kamani, a brilliant bald-headed wicketkeeper that had the softest hands, so I'm led to understand. I remember Dilip Vengsarkar, brilliant. These guys came to the West Indies and they could bat. Sunil Gavaskar, of course. Chetan Chauhan, very defensive opening bat. Anshuman Gaikwad, another one that was a very defensive opening bat. Gundappa Vishwanath, the great Vishwanath, another brilliant player. Madan Lal, liked Madan Lal. Roger Binney. I'm trying to remember any pace bowlers in my day, as in when I was a boy. Of course, you had many others that came through that I like. Bumrah, for example. I think Bumrah is outstanding. Batsmen, obviously Sachin. Vinod Kambli, brilliant player. So you're asking my favourite Indian players. There's a couple. I'm trying to think of a couple more. We've just lost one, actually. He's sadly passed away. Yasfal Sharma. died recently from the 1980s. These were players. Sandeep Patil, another one. And of course, I've read my Indian cricket history, so I do know of other players from time before my time getting into it, like Bishen Bedi, Arapali Prasanna. These were two spinners I can remember. Venkataragavan, Venkat, superb. There was a fourth one, wasn't there? Oh, Chandrasekhar. How can you forget Chandrasekhar? Fantastic players. So these were players I remember. Who are your favourites? Let me know in the chat. So going back to here, we've got Andrew Simons. I can't do the dreadlocks on here, but this is more or less what he looked like. Then you've got Darren Buff Lehman. Darren Lehman became a controversial coach much later when they played South Africa a few years ago. But in his day, in the 2000s, was a brilliant player, one day particularly, and has a very healthy Test cricket average. You've got Simon Katic as well. Simon Katic was a good opening bat. Sometimes he could drop down the order. Good player. Bradley Hogg. Now, some of these players I'm not as familiar with because they were, by this point, the team was beginning to slightly deteriorate in the mid-2000s. I say deteriorate, they were still winning. Yep, Rishabh Pant is a fantastic player. Aggressive, got that winning mentality, kind of like Kohli in that mentality. I think there's a lot to come from Pant to be honest with you. I'm trying to think of some of the more recent Indian players. It does seem like the Indian team has changed a lot in the recent years to me, but that might be because during the pandemic I kind of took my eye off the ball a little bit with the modern cricketers. But I will get to them. If you can give me one moment, I'll have a quick look and just have a look at what I do have. It might just remind me. If I go to India, let's have a look. Here we are, India. I don't think, yeah, India 2010s. Let's have a look. You want my favourite players? They should all be here. So obviously we've got Kohli. We know Kohli. This guy here, Ajinkya Rahane, fantastic. Jadeja, I love Jadeja. I think he's excellent. Rohit Sharma, excellent player. They're all good. I mean, to be honest, Pujara, yeah, Pollard and Gale are superb. Absolutely superb. I like Pujara. He can't play one-day cricket to save his life, but as a test batsman, he was superb. Ashwin, very underrated to this day. I think he's class. The Pandya, Hardik Pandya, fantastic. You know, so there's a lot there. Looking at this, Bumrah, like I said, Kartik. But I'm not as familiar with these players because I didn't see them. You know, I probably got off cricket at that stage when these were coming through. But I do, obviously, Kohli sticks out for me. And the ones at the top. Jadeja, like I said, is fantastic. If I go back one step, as we're talking about India, to the era that I do remember a bit better, will be the 2000s. Dravid, Dhoni, Sehwag. I mean, come on. Sehwag played like a West Indian. Yuvraj, Ganguly. What do they call him? Dada? I'm not sure why they call him Dada, but that's Gang Sarakun. Zahir Khan. Here's my favourite, VVS Laxman. For some reason, the PS4 is not picking up the eyebrows, if you noticed. Galton Gambier. I think sometimes, yeah, Dhoni is a legend. They're all legends. Here's a question. Would that Indian team, right? I know I'm doing Australia, but would that Indian team take on this team? Have a look. Now then, now we're talking. Viv Richards, Malcolm Marshall, Desmond Haynes, Gordon Greenwich, Michael Holding, Richie Richardson, Larry Gomes, Gus Logie, Ranjit Anand, who many people don't know. Ranjit Anand has an outstanding first-class average, played only one test match. Because he is West Indian Asian or Asian West Indian, at the time, a lot of West Indian Asians did not get in the side, for whatever reason. And also there was a pace attack. Roger Harper, one of the best fielders of all time, as well as Patrick Patterson as a bowler. I think it was Ian Bishop who said he watched Patterson when he was young and he saw sparks fly off. 1983. Do you know, I was a young boy at the time, and I remember travelling back from wherever we were in Jamaica, and we didn't even listen to it on the radio, because it was on the radio at the time, because we thought we'd win. We thought we had that in the bag. And I remember travelling in the car, and we thought, let's turn it on, let's see how much we won by. Well, I couldn't believe it. West Indies were like, at the time, maybe 7 wickets down. No, I think it was Dujon was the last one to come in, where we thought, okay, it'll be all right. Jeffrey Dujon will sort it. Anyways, Dujon here. Of course, we were wrong. India won. But you know what? What's really funny about the 83 side? They actually beat West Indies in the group matches. People forget that. They actually beat them. And if I remember, there's another Indian player that I loved. Shrikant. Do you remember you heard about Shrikant? Shrikant, if he played now, opening back with Gavaskar, if Shrikant played now, Shrikant would dominate T20. He was superb. Joe Garner, Tony Gray, very underrated player, Everton Mattis, Telston Payne, Winston Davis. So I tell you what, pick up any Indian team from history, and I will do a T20 and I will post it on YouTube. If you want the 83 side, any side, you can choose. They're all here. All the players, I've got over 1,000 players on the database. I will do that if you want to see that. Of course, if you've got Cricket 19, you can download them yourself. So, going back to the Australia side, before I bring this to an end. As you can see, I've got all the teams. And I've just, because there's a, if I go to India, I've even got their best sides ever. I think if you want to know your Indian history, cricket history, you have to go back to 1930. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, this is where you learn, isn't it? You know, if you're born in 2007, that would make you what now? 12, 13? So when I was 10, I watched my first cricket match, and that was Australia versus West Indies. So if you want to know about 83 side, funny enough, it's not on here, but I can tell you the players. I go to India 1980s, managed squad. Here they are, most of them, not all of them. Kapil, Dev, Dilip Vengsarkar, attacking batsman, brilliant. Sandeep Patel, he was like a film star, brilliant. Roger Binney, medium pace bowler, he would do very well for India in that World Cup. Ashok Malhotra, I think he was part of that squad. He was like a, what was Malhotra? He was a decent batsman. Ravi Shastri was young at the time. I think he was in the World Cup. I think he played in that World Cup. He used to wear a white helmet, and he was an off spinner. And I think he does a lot of broadcasting now for them now. So you're coming into cricket at a very good time as well, because like I said, most of us get into cricket when we're 9 or 8 or 7 or 9. For me, I was 10 when I got into cricket, and I've never forgotten it. Here's some more. Yashpal Sharma, who died, I think, last week or this week, sadly. But what a player he was. Excellent player. Attacking batsman. Kirti Azad. Chris Shrikant, the one I was telling you about. If you're not familiar with the 83 World Cup side, read about Shrikant. Ask your family about Shrikant. He wasn't very good with a lot of runs, but the runs he did make were very exciting. Chetan Sharma, Dilip Doshi, a fantastic, he's kind of a pudgy, weighty person with glasses, if I remember correctly. And he was a spin bowler, decent bowler. Chandrakant Pandit, Maninder Singh is an excellent bowler. Really, was 18 years old when he made his name. Very good bowler. Laxman Sivaramakrishnan, an absolute fantastic player. So hopefully I will save this video, and maybe you look at it and you can read. If you're young, you can read through, go online and see what you can find out about these teams. But that was the most of the 83 team. And if you go back to when India first got into Test cricket, and I will do an episode for every squad. So if you want to learn more about cricket, just keep tuning in, because I'm going to commit a bit more to this. VJ Merchant was one of the best batsmen of all time. People talk about Bradman, who was outstanding, but people forget about VJ Merchant. Ask your family about VJ Merchant. This is a long time ago, obviously 90 years ago, but he was a superb batsman. He's like a father of Indian cricket. Lala Amarnath, another one. I'll let you just look through this list before I bring it to an end. These are the fathers, or most of the fathers, of Indian cricket. C.S. Naidu. Do you have Cricket 19? KRI fun? If you have Cricket 19, then you can download these teams and you can read about the players. In the 1940s, it was a time of, sadly you don't have it. Okay. Sorry to hear that. It's a good game. But you can follow the uploads as I start to broadcast more, and hopefully you can read up and watch YouTube about these famous players. This is your heritage. Like my heritage is cricket, your heritage is in cricket. Vijay Hazare, Rusi Modi, these are great players from Indian cricket history. 1950s, more. Vinu Mankad, Polly Amragar, these are legends. Fergie Gupta, a fantastic spinner. Pankaj Roy, a fantastic opener. 1960s. Bapu Nadkarni was a superb spinner. Chandu Board, Dilip Sardesai, Rusi Sethi. All these, and here we go to some of the better ones, well known. Prasanna is one of 4 of India's greatest spinners. Farooq Engineer was a wicketkeeper, a brilliant wicketkeeper. One of the best, this one here, Mansoor Ali Khan, the Nawab of Pataudi, is the person responsible for making India good at cricket. Remember that. It's not 83. 83 is when India become well known as a country for sports, and in particular, the country changed in 1983. I agree. But in terms of who was a captain that got Indian cricket into a new attacking mode, it is the Nawab of Pataudi Jr. Remember that. That's it. So this was about Australia. But one of the persons in the chat was asking some questions, a younger person. So I just thought I'd show them, where to look, and hopefully in the future you can ask your family or read for yourself about these types of players. So Australia 2000s, I'll just wrap it up with, I think I showed the uniforms. Yep. And the lineups. Justin Langer. I mean, this is a great lineup. Langer, Hayden, Ponting, Damian Martin, Michael Hussey. How did I forget Hussey? Hussey is a superb player, but he came into cricket quite late. Simon Katich, Adam Gilchrist. I mean, come on. I'll just go back to the squad because I realised I didn't finish. Matthew Hayden, Ian Harvey, Ricky Ponting, Andrew Simons, Darren Lehman, Simon Katich, Bradley Hogg. One of the greatest players of all time, Adam Gilchrist, who was a wicketkeeper batsman who took the batting to another level. Before him, I think it was Jeff Dujon from the West Indies. That was superb. But Adam Gilchrist, Gilly, is the person that took cricket to another level, took Australian cricket to another level. But after him, you talk about Pant as a cricketer, as a wicketkeeper. He has followed Alan Gilchrist, I promise you. Michael Hussey, good player. Brett Lee. Whoa, Brett Lee was superb. He had the armband, the blonde hair. He was running fast. Superb. Jason Gillespie, superb. Michael Kasparich, Mike Bickle, Justin Langer, who is now the coach, superb. Brad Hodge, Martin Love, Stuart Clark, good bowler. Phil Jacks, Colin Miller. Just look at the stuff. Stuart McGill couldn't get in the side because of Shane Warne. Jimmy Meyer, another player, brilliant player, couldn't get in the side. Nathan Bracken, Sean Tate, and Nathan Horitz. Just outstanding player. Jason Gillespie, Damian Martin. So that brings that to an end. Thank you for the chat. If you want to see more, please press like and subscribe.